The story is of that fog which got lost in the pages of history. It is said that about 3,500 years ago, on the vast, grassy plains of Central Asia, a mysterious nation reigned in their horses. These people, whom we call Arya, were neither gigantic nor did they have golden hair. They were simply nomads whose lives revolved around leather tents, metal weapons, and those songs that later became the Rigveda. Modern genetic research shows that these people belonged to the Sintashta culture, 2100 to 1800 BCE, spread across what is now the borders of Russia and Kazakhstan. From here, they spread their language and culture, from Europe to India, through the power of chariots and horses. Archaeologist David Anthony writes in his book *The Horse, the Wheel, and Language *, the domestication of the horse and the invention of the wheel made these nomads victorious. When these people arrived in the lands of the Sindhu and Ganga, civilizations already existed there. The inhabitants of Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, whose seals still carry enigmatic images of Shiva, blended with these new guests. Archaeological expert Michel Daneno, in his book *The Lost River*, provides evidence that the decline of the Harappan civilization was due to the drying up of the Saraswati River, not because of an Aryan invasion. According to him, the Harappans were skilled in agriculture and urban planning, while the Arya's strength was in their horses and war strategies. The mingling of these two cultures gave birth to the Vedic age. A new civilization emerged between Harappan clay vessels and the copper shields of the Aryas. Modern genetic research and recent population studies have also clarified that the Aryan migration was not a sudden attack, but a continuous movement over centuries that involved intermingling with local populations. In this regard, David Reich and other experts have highlighted the complexity of human genome, showing that there is no such thing as a pure rat.
But then the wheel of time turned. In 1786, William Jones announced at a gathering in Calcutta that Sanskrit, Greek, and Latin all belonged to the same language family. This was the spark that, over the next 100 years, fueled the fire of racial supremacy. German linguist Max Müller coined the term Aryan race, although he later himself called it a verbal mistake. By then, the idea had taken root. British colonial rulers told Indians that their high-caste Hindus were actually their blood relatives, the descendants of white, European Aryans. The rest? Native types. In the 1901 census, Herbert Hope Risley transformed castes into racial rankings, permanently dividing Indian society. Furthermore, research and archaeological discoveries of that era made it clear that ancient civilizations like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa were highly developed, and their decline was mainly due to natural environmental changes and the drying up of rivers. In 19th century Europe, a storm of scientific racism emerged. From Franz Joseph Gall's phrenology, the measurement of skulls, to Arthur D. Gobineau's *Si sud Elenigalide des races humaines *1853, arguments of white superiority were voiced everywhere. Gobineau wrote, "The Aryans are the true heroes of history, and all others are inferior." In this narrative, the Jews were made the villains. In 1890, Viennese painter Georg Rutter created a painting of a blonde, blue-eyed, tall Aryan youth, a veritable superhero. In reality, statues of ancient kings in India show wheatish skin and curly hair. European research of that time not only reinforced racial hierarchies but also, under the influence of colonial theories, led to divisions in local societies.
Then came 1925. On a street in Munich, a 35-year-old unsuccessful writer completed the manuscript of his book. This was Adolf Hitler, and in *may come for * he wrote, it is the Aryans who are the architects of all cultures. The Jews are poisoning them with their blood. The Nazi party then adopted the swastika, a symbol actually as ancient as the Harappans, found from Buddhist times to many other eras. Heinrich Himmler founded an organization called the Ahnenerbe, which even went as far as Tibet to prove that the Germans originally came from Atlantis. In 1938, under the leadership of Ernst Schaeffer, an expedition looted thousands of manuscripts from Tibetan monasteries, most of which were used to support false theories of pure race. The Nuremberg Laws of 1935, under the guise of protecting Aryan blood, stripped Jews of their citizenship. A Jewish child from Austria, who later became the philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein, had to flee along with his family. At the same time in India, in 1925, the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh (RSS) was founded in Nagpur. Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, the founder of Hindutva, wrote in *Hindutva, who is a Hindu, 1923, India is the land of the Aryans. Muslims and Christians are foreigners. Interestingly, however, ancient Sanskrit texts never link Arya with race. In the Rigvedic hymn 10.90, the creation of Brahman from the mouth of Prajapati, Kshatriya from the arms, Vaishya from the thighs, and Shudra from the feet is mentioned, but these are professions, not births. Moreover, modern anthropological research, including Nicholas Dirks's book *Castes of Mind*, makes it clear that the rigidity of modern castes is a result of British colonial census and legal structures that deepened social divisions.
In 1945, when people were held prisoner in Auschwitz, the world thought that the monster of racism had been vanquished. Yet in 2016 in the United States, alt-right demonstrations by figures like Charles W. Hill saw swastika flags waved again. A 2018 study analyzing the Indian genome found that North Indians have 13 trill Asian genes, while South Indians have only 5%. But this migration was over centuries, not a sudden invasion. Geneticist David Reed states, "There is no such thing as a pure race. We are all mixed." This research also highlighted that the historical mingling of different civilizations and populations has shaped our present identity. Today in Silicon Valley, Dalit engineers are segregated at dining tables by upper caste Hindus. In 2020, a case of caste discrimination was brought against California's Cisco company, where a Dalit employee was called a derogatory name, Chamar, by his supervisor. In a 2021 survey in the United Kingdom, 50% of Dalit students reported experiencing discrimination in educational institutions. In a village in Maharashtra in 2022, a Dalit boy was beaten simply because he talked to a girl from a higher caste. These are just a few examples. Every day, such incidents are reported. Global social movements and related research testify that dismantling historical misconceptions and racism requires a joint struggle that is not limited to one country or community, but is a matter for all of humanity.
Yet there are also rays of hope. In 2021, banners featuring the image of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar appeared during the Black Lives Matter protests in America, a shared struggle against caste and racial injustice. Professor Anupma Rao of Columbia University writes in her book *The Caste Question*, caste is not just an Indian issue, it is linked to global capitalism and racial segregation. Assamese poet Nalan Khal Singh wrote, "We have seen rivers flow in our veins. Who says our blood is pure?" The story of the Aryas teaches us that history is not a stone line drawn by someone. It is a river in which travelers of every era sail their boats of thought. Sometimes these boats are of knowledge, sometimes of hatred. But the truth is always like this flowing stream, composed of millions of tiny channels. As one verse of the Rig Veda says, one is the truth, though wise men call it by different names. Moreover, current research and discoveries remind us that cultural intermingling and social changes over time have been a natural process in human history, which has not only refined our languages and traditions, but also given birth to a shared identity reflected in our genes and current social attitudes. Today, when some new Nazi talks about Aryan purity, or when some Hindutva leader calls the Vedic age the Golden Age, we must remember that these historical tales often reflect the interests of the powerful. The true heritage is what unites our shared humanity, not what divides it. Just like the bird carved on Harappan seals, which still longs to take flight, free from caste, race, or borders, historical facts, genetic evidence, and the intermingling of ancient civilizations have taught us that we all play a part in the same story, and our common future depends on forgetting our ancient mistakes and working together to build a just and inclusive society.